And that's what I love about what you guys do at Canex, because you're providing the data points and the real-time data that you are getting from the carrier on the carrier's product to then provide to the advisor to make the analysis. Do you ever see a time, Gary, that that type of analytical information is available to the public?
I don't know. In the same way,
And
you got
if
web
not,
and
why not? So if
I,
it's
I,
no,
I,
then why?
I think for some reason you want to go to a doctor as opposed to go to WebMD every time you feel an ache in the
Yeah, but
pain.
people go to WebMD though. That's
I
my whole
know, but then
point.
they end up going to a doctor.
Yeah, I mean but that's my whole point though. We are in a society where, good or bad, but it's, you can't put the toothpaste back into the tube, of
Right.
where people want to do their own research before they go
Oh, sure.
into the doctor.
Yeah. No, I mean, granted, I mean, we've sponsored a lot of research over the years as far as what consumers want versus what financial advisors think they want. They certainly, they actually, financial advisors actually underestimate what consumers want. But in a lot of cases, the annuities, there is a large section of investors or consumers. They'll go to somebody who they may want to trust and say, "Oh, this is so confusing. You just tell me what to do." On the other hand, there are investors out there that want to know. They want that research,
Yeah.
and the question is, how do you package that in a way where you can at least have a simplified experience, publicly for them to go to a website to do that type of research.
It's called Canex to Consumer, C2C.com. No, it doesn't exist, but
Now we
I do.
rely on folks like you to do that.
Yeah, I understand, and I think we're going to eventually get there to where we might just do that. We might just provide that analytical tool. We provide everything else. The last piece is to provide the analytical tools that you are offering. The only thing is will you allow us to do it when that time comes? I think we're a couple years away, but once again, the great part about what's happening in the annuity industry, in my opinion, obviously you have pioneers out here like me that are taking all the arrows and doing a direct consumer model up to the point that we legally can, meaning that at the end, someone with a license they do have to talk to you before as you're filling out the application. But eventually that won't be the case. I think that the great part that's happening in the annuity industry is the consumer. They are molding the products. They're molding and demanding how things are going to work. They're molding and demanding transparency. And that's always a good thing when the consumer runs it, not the companies, in my opinion. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and I don't think, and to get to that point, I don't think you focus as much as the product or the engine under the hood. You're molding a solution based upon a need, which may already allocate across an annuity plus something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than trying to explain to everybody on how the pistons work and the spark plugs, if you will, they just know that when you look at the ingredients on the back of a soup can, you know that it's equal parts of this, that, or well, maybe not so equal parts, but
Mm-hmm.
you can see what the ingredients are behind the scenes. And I think as far as for the general public or consumers, being able to mold solutions that solve a specific need that they have, knowing that behind the covers there's certain investments or contracts that are going to support that need. So I don't think you're going to get anywhere trying to explain to the public why one index annuity product's better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of what gets configured under the hood, and then what are you actually solving, ultimately at the best value.
Recently, Gary, there was a carrier that we will not name that pretty much came out and said in a press release that they're no longer going to be focused on the guarantees of an annuity. They're going to be more focused on potential, hypothetical, theoretical, back tested, hopefully unicorns chasing the butterfly stuff that drives me crazy. But they're doing that for profit reasons. It's very obvious. Do you see that as a canary in the coal mine and as a trend going forward, because, annuity companies are for profit. There is big money coming in who demand returns. Do you see that being a trend, or are they a one-off?
Um, I don't necessarily see it as a trend. Insurance companies have been around for hundreds of years, and they're pooling risk at the end of the day, and they've gotten really good on how to manage that risk on behalf of the investor. Now, that being said, there's different flavors of insurance companies that support these contracts.
Hmm.
You have the ones that are stock owned. You have ones that are mutual, owned by the policyholder.
Sure.
And there is, there's a reason why you have those ratings out there. I mean, double A, triple A, still means a lot, when you're looking at that, and because they're managing the reserves appropriately. But that being said, there are some firms that are looking to, increase incrementally their profit margins. You do have some carriers now today that are going offshore,
Yeah, that's a
insurers,
concern.
and you have a lot of these equity companies that are buying up some of these insurance blocks and maybe looking for some of that incremental return. So that seems to be something that's happening a little bit more and more. In fact, you're seeing some of these larger insurers even dipping their toe into those waters. But I think it's a matter of how do you, not only how you make a product more efficient, but how you keep the balance sheet more efficient in the background. But I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to remove an insurance carrier from providing these guarantees or protections. They're just looking ways to maybe make it more efficient. But
Yeah.
for somebody to completely back out of hedging their costs for offering any type of a guarantee, I think that's just more of a one-off business decision of that firm.
Got it. Well,
I mean,
I had Kerry Pector of he's the editor of Retirement Income Journal, which is kind of an industry journal. And he was talking, he's written an article called the Bermuda Triangle of annuities, where companies are going offshore, and what Gary just mentioned. Is that a concern that you're hearing people talk about? Because I thought it was very innovative for him to approach that, because that's a you're tiptoeing into some tough waters there, because you have big companies doing that, and I know he got a lot of blowback on that. Is that a concern for these companies, going to Bermuda so there's no regulations? And because at the end of the day, customers are trusting these carriers with their retirement, parts of their retirement. Is that a concern for you, or are you okay with all that?
um, I guess the real question is what type of transparency is involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
There are services out there, and you can certainly comment on this, which provide a little bit more background on the insurance carrier backing
Yeah.
that guarantee
Yeah. We
and
look
the
at that.
health of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how much these offshore trends are playing into those rankings or those scores. It's new and developing. It was niche, and now it's becoming a little bit mainstream as far as how some firms are managing their balance sheets. So, I think with that, I think there'll probably be more, a little bit more light shown on that, and the
Mm-hmm.
regulators maybe digging a little bit deeper. And I think maybe there'll be some adjustments or views on how that ends up on how you score or would rank or rate, insurance carriers, depending upon how much they're going offshore.
I just hope that the industry is very, very proactive on that, instead of being reactive. Reactive is we're having a problem and then solving it. I'd like for them to solve it before there's a problem. Hey, Stan the Annuity Man here. Did you like that little taste of my podcast, Fun with Annuities? Hey, if you want to see the full version, click the link and watch the whole darn thing. Remember, Fun with Annuities. Living the reality, not the dream.